The 28-year-old from Victoria, wearing bib number 100, probably doesn't have the physical strength to really get down to the 156 mark that she would need to become a world champion. So she may be better off running the 1500 internationally, Mike.
And with an 11-second personal best improvement, that's an incredible run at 1500 meters, but her 158 speed will lead her well into the 1500 meters with great endurance.
Well, she is the solid favorite in this women's 800-meter final. This is the way they line up. If she's going to be challenged, it may come from the woman in lane 6, Heather Henniger, the 29-year-old from Halifax, who this year, both indoors and out, has been under the 2:10 mark.
And that's a good run indoors, but we see that 2 minutes is a world-class time, and the only athlete able to do that here today is Deanne. These blustery winds are going to be tough for these women. It'll be interesting to see if Deanne leads from the front or tucks herself in behind another competitor.
19-year-old Jennifer Kemp in lane 1. 21-year-old Lisa Whalen of Winnipeg is the runner in lane 2. Melina Thibodeau, number 389 from Halifax, is the runner in lane 3. She has a best time of 2:09.71. Then it's the Canadian record holder, Deanne Cummins, with a time of 1:58.39, which she set at a meet in Italy last year for her Canadian record performance. Beside her in lane 5 is Alison Salter of Cambridge, Ontario. She's been under the 2:10 mark. She's 24 years old. I talked earlier about Heather Henniger, number 187 from Halifax, a personal best of 2:09.29. In lane 7, number 35, Krista Beddoes, a 30-year-old from Calgary. And completing the field in lane 8 from Beaumont, Alberta, is 21-year-old Tanya Wright.
Deanne's run of 2 minutes, 0.72 seconds ranks her number 16 in the world so far this year and number 3 in the Commonwealth. So that sets her up very well, especially if she's trying to do that double of 800 and 1500 meters.
Well, she's not a big woman. She stands 5'6", only weighs about 105 pounds. And as we said, may not have the physical strength to really be able to do the necessary weight training to get down to that 156 mark that would be required to really compete at the world level. Of course, they run the first turn in their lanes, and then they will jockey for position and look for Deanne Cummins to be the leader as they come off the turn, and she will drop down to the inside of the track and will be in front.
It's this back stretch that's going to be the most difficult of this race. They'll have to contest this win twice. This first lap around, they won't feel it as much, but the second time around, it's going to feel very blustery. It's gusting up to 30 kilometers an hour, so that's a very stiff wind to be running into, but nonetheless, down this home stretch, they'll have it at their back, which will aid their time.
Well, when she moved to Victoria from South Africa about a decade ago, she was a long jumper, and she credits a knee operation and a diet change when she converted to the 800 meters for much of her success. And as expected, it is Cummins leading the way, with Henniger running in second place, and in third position is Thibodeau. But it is Deanne Cummins, clearly the class of this field. Henniger moving along in second place, but there's a sizable gap between the leader Cummins and the second place runner Henniger.
Deanne had a very good first lap in 61.1 seconds, but here you can see that headwind is a big offensive to face, and she's going to have to really concentrate along this backstretch. She'll have a nice tailwind coming down that home stretch. A fast lap of 61.1. She's going to look to come back in about 63 to 64 seconds, so we can expect a time around 2:05.
Alison Salter has moved up into third place. It is Henniger continuing to run from second, but she has a huge deficit between herself and Deanne Cummins, the leader, as Deanne Cummins is heading for a Canadian Women's Championship. And she is clearly the class in the field, and she will definitely be a medal threat for Canada based on her 5th place finish last year at the World Championships when she goes to Manchester and the Commonwealth Games. And it is a second place finisher for Heather Henniger, and Alison Salter hangs on for third ahead of Krista Beddoes of Calgary. Deanne Cummins, the 2002 Canadian Women's 800-meter champion.
Way to go, man.
Deanne ran a very smart race, very even splits. You want to differentiate your first and second lap by about 2 to 3 seconds. She's very relaxed here. Her official time is 2:04.94, which is very easy running for Deanne. She's already run 2 minutes flat so far this year, so she really cruised along easily. This first lap set her up so well for that second lap where she pulled away from the rest of the field.
Well, she has achieved half of her objective. She wins the 800-meter championship. Now she's looking to strike gold in the 1500 meter. And of course, she has hopes of doubling in the 800 and 1500 meters at the Commonwealth Games in Manchester. And she has to be a definite threat to be on the medal podium in about 1 month's time. Well, we'll hear from Deanne Cummins when we return, but let's pause right now, and we'll be back with the men's 800 final as Zach Whitmarsh attempts to duplicate the performance of Deanne Cummins.
Welcome back to the Canadian Track and Field Championships, where Diane Cummins has just won the women's 800 meter in a time of 2:04.94. Heather Henniger in second place and Allison Salter in third. And joining us now is Deanne Cummins. And Deanne, you were the overwhelming favorite here, and you took the lead right away. And we saw you on the backstretch, or rather after the first lap, really take it out.
Hi, Mark. CBC rocks. Mom, I love you. You know, I had a lot of confidence coming into this race. Usually I don't run from the front, but I figured the girls behind me, they needed to be in a quick race and nobody else was going to do it, so I did it, and I guess I opened up a lead. I wasn't really listening to the announcer or anything, but that's promising to know that, yeah, I guess I just felt really strong, and they have a clock every 200, so I could see my splits and I knew that I wasn't going too fast enough to handle this wind and at least get a bit fatigued, so use it as a bit of a training run at the same time.
How was that wind down the backstretch? It looked a little tough.
Yeah, it was, especially when we came around for the second lap. I was like, whoa, but I just said to myself, it's not an excuse. Don't go backwards, just, you know, fight against it and keep strong.
Do you have high expectations for the Commonwealth Games?
Yeah, actually I do, but as the weeks go by and there's more races internationally, I see it's going to be a very, very competitive field. There's a lot of up-and-coming British athletes that are going to be running, but I still want to get a medal. It's Queen's Jubilee this year. My dad's British. I have family in England. It's in Manchester, so there's a lot of expectations for me to do well. I want to do it. I want to make Canadians really proud.
All right, best of luck. You still got the 1500 meters to go, so good luck in that one.
Thanks very much. See you tomorrow.
All right.